Hi everyone. Thanks for tuning in to this video. In this video, I'll be diving into the book You Owe You by Eric Thomas. Now let's explore how they connect with my latest book, The Echo. In The Echo, Jalen wrestles with inner thoughts, inner voices, suicidal thoughts, and his life's purpose. Eric Thomas reminds us about accountability and ownership, two themes that echoes through Jalen's journey. Accountability and ownership. Both story reminds us of one truth. You owe you. Not your past, not your boss or your friends. You owe yourself to take ownership and walk in your purpose and live. Eric E.T., also known as Eric Thomas, was born in Chicago, raised in Detroit by a teenage single mother. He dropped out of high school and lived homeless for 2 years. And if you just do a Google search of his life, you can learn more. But like I say, I'm just gonna do some excerpt from his book. His book is also available on all the platforms, and you can learn more about him. And I'm just gonna stick to what I think the two themes that aligns or correlates with the echo. So getting back to his history bio, he was raised by a teenage mother, and he dropped out of high school. He lived, homeless for 2 years. And he struggled with his purpose and identity. But the turning point was when he met a young lady who's now his wife, and they've been married for almost 40 years, if I'm not mistaken. And she was attending church, and the pastor of her church became his mentor, and he helped him get back to get his GED, and and then after that, he from that moment, he helped him with other things in his life. He became his mentor. He was after he got his GED. Eric Thomas was able to go to college in Alabama, which was called Oakwood University. He got his bachelor's degree, and then he got his master's, and eventually got his PhD in educational administration from Michigan State. Today, ET, which is also known as Eric Thomas. Um, he's a pastor, he's a global motivational speaker, he's an educator and a coach. His speaking engagements range from working with CEOs of Fortune 500 companies to professional athletes, NBA players, and everyday people just like you and me. His message as he speaks on accountability and on ownership. E.T. says, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, you'll be successful. And that's not just his quote, it's a lifestyle. And the reason why he wrote the book, he said he wrote the book for the kids who grew up like him, without fathers, with associated with trauma, childhood trauma, and with learning struggles. He started working with kids first, speaking at Oakwood, um, and he was helping high school dropouts earn their GED. Now, just think about after he's got his, he's had the mentor from a pastor and someone that stepped into his life and turned the trajectory of his life around with God's help. Now he's in college, and now he's helping. He's in return helping high school dropouts get their GED. He started visiting in the midst of classes and all that, and once he learned out his gift of speaking and being able to mentor kids, he started not only in what the programs with the high school dropouts in helping them earn their GED. He started visiting juvenile detention centers and teaching English and then drama. His book, You Owe You, is about getting to know yourself, seeing clearly who you are, and responding to the world with confidence. It's about waking up every morning and understanding your power and walking in your purpose and spending every minute chasing it. It's about waking up every day, understanding the power, your power, your power not to give up, no matter what you feel physically, mentally that's going on. Learn how to walk in your purpose and spending every minute after you learn that and walk through those challenges, spend every minute going by your purpose in life. And so that's what this book is all about. You owe you. Now, as it correlates with Jalen, now in the Echo, in my short story that's currently still for sale, well, it's for sale on all the platforms, also Amico, Amazon, Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, and Google Play Books. So in the Echo, Jalen wrestles with inner voices and suicidal thoughts and questions of life's purpose. He's haunted by these echoes from his childhood, from the moments of abandonment, silence, and broken promises. Jalen's journey is about healing, identity, and finding meaning in the midst of pain. Just like E.T. had to fight through homelessness and hopelessness, Jalen has to fight through emotional darkness. Both ask the same question. Both of these two stories ask the same question. What do you owe yourself? And here's the connection with it all. E.T. says, stop blaming. He talks about accountability. He says, stop blaming others. Own your life. Jalen learns that healing starts when he stopped running from himself, start fighting, or start dealing with those inner thoughts. And then E.T. says also purpose. When he talks about purpose, he says, wake up. For this is, wake up. And when you wake up, this is your why. You got another day to get up and start and walk in your purpose. Jalen discovers his why through pain and reflection. As he learned where the source of the pain and what was going on with him, he started walking to that path towards dealing with it through the pain and walking towards healing, and with the word as a reminder when those voices came and they were lying to him, saying that he was worthless or he'll never be nothing. He would never accomplish nothing, or he don't have to fight to live, and he don't have what it takes to function in life and be productive. Once he learned that he could and he would through, again, a mentor, a man that spoke into his life and helped him walk through that, he was able to find his purpose. So E.T. says, wake up every morning. When you wake up every morning, you see another day, that's your why to keep fighting. Jalen says, discover it through your pain and walk through it. And you'll find your purpose through the pain, through the path, the journey that you're taking. And then there's also sacrifice. He gave up good things for great things. He gave up for things that he knew wasn't good. He was, even when he went to college, he wasn't perfect. He still, after being mentored, he got to college and had different, as typical college kid was. But then he realized that as God was learning him how to craft his gift in speaking, and how he was learning to reach people in a positive way, kids and these kids in the juvenile detention home, and helping them get a GED and all that. He had to, realize that he had to get himself together, structure his life. And at times where he was doing 3 speaking engagements a week, he had to decrease the time of doing all the typical college things and learning how to make time to learn and craft this gift. And then he would be able to be used even more and be effective. And Jalen say you must let go the old wounds. Basically, Jalen is Pastor Tate ministers to him. Excuse me. And basically, if you've read The Valley, you will see this is before Jalen became to fruition. And it talks about someone dealing with a walk in life, a very low time in their life of grief, despair, just a lot of things, and not having a father. And he kept having these thoughts of, he would never do anything, accomplish thing in life. And he was able to be get with a pastor who walked with him and said, "Hey, um, it's not you. It's not, those things that you're dealing with. It's just wounds from the past. It's just childhood trauma. But if you learn the truth about yourself and what God has in store for you, then you can walk through those challenges and replace those thoughts, which then became the echo, the second short story, reminding you of those inner voices. And he had gave him the equipment. He gave him what he needed to do to walk through those times of reverberating echoes and inner voices that come in to kill, steal, and destroy your life and have you stagnant. And this pastor helped walked him through those times and those episodes. So when he goes through them, that he can be productive in life. He can make it through life despite what he's been through in the past. Remember what the word says in the truth. It's a lie. It's not. It's not. That's not you. And you're able to heal and walk through it. So Jalen, he learned, again, getting back to him, the sacrifice that he learned, where he just had to let go the old wounds and embrace the new beginning. Both journeys reminds us the destination isn't the isn't the point. Excuse me. The journey is everything. And I'm just gonna um, read an excerpt from You Owe You. It's in chapter 5, and it's called. The title of that chapter is "Walking in Your Purpose." And Dr. Eric Thomas states, moving through the awareness of your gifts is like walking in your purpose. So again, as I said previously, as he started going to Oakwood College and he started learning crafting his gift of speaking and all and improving it all, and how it starts to begin opening doors where he started getting speaking events and started being able to minister to large crowds in his speaking. That's when he knew that he was walking in his purpose. And no matter, let's go back. Through family problems that he had with his parents, he made the decision to leave home. And he lived on the street for 2 years, and he just wouldn't go back home until he met this young lady. She invited him to church. The pastor mentored him, and then that's when he got a GED, and then that's when he was accepted to college in Alabama. And that's when he started, through all of that, the Lord started making and molding him, and he realized what his gift was. And so basically, he said that once he knew that he could speak, and he knew that speaking would make life opportunities for him. He knew that he had to start, changing his ways and improving what he was doing. And he just talks about when he says about walking in your purpose. He just one of the sections in the books he talks about growing up. His mother. She was a working. He had two working parents, and basically he said he had good two working parents and they took good care of him, but he just made the decision in his own thought process to do something that he learned about, that he just left home and lived on the street. So basically, he said prior to that, and ways where he used to watch his mother, he would say that he was saying, growing up in Detroit, my mother had a garden out in the back. She used to buy manure. She would put it over all the plots and watch it grow. She was paying top dollar for premium crap. And then he said, crap is what makes things grow. To produce vegetables, you need water, light, crap. Water, light, and crap. That was her formula. And then he says that the same is in our life. The stuff that nourishes us is sometimes awful. The awful stuff can push us to go to the next level, to fight more fiercely for our why, to embody purpose with the fullness of clarity we must not have otherwise. These moments of struggle and difficulty can be used to our advantage. They can harness to push you further than you ever go alone. They can be harnessed to push you further than you'll ever go alone. The hardest moments in your life are the ones that make you stronger. And that's what basically what he says, that when when you're walking in your purpose and you realize sometimes things are hard, when you things are life challenges and battles get harder and harder, and you have to realize that, God will give you wisdom in that purpose and give you the instructions. And the scripture says he did ask wisdom, let him ask of God, and he'll give it to him liberally. And, he learned that, even in that purpose can come and shape and mold you, and that you can learn what you need in that hard time, to apply it to yourself and continue in life and have a purposeful life. And he talks about his ups and downs, no matter what the hurdles that life brought him. As he was walking through his purposes in life, he had trials. And again, he at the height of his career of speaking and speaking to people, pastoring and all that, his wife, who was currently also, she was a RN, she learned that she had muscular sclerosis. And now this was a dark part of his valley. And, but instead, when he learned out the why, when he learned out his wife was diagnosed with this disease in this valley, though it was the hardest, one of the darkest places in his life, he E.T. said he had to realize he had to fight. He couldn't stay in the valley. He had to ask God to give him the wisdom and the know-how to craft what he has given him with that gift in speaking. He knew that he would have to do what he had to do to take care of his wife. His wife would have to stop working as a registered nurse, and then he would have to take on responsibility and do what he had to do. And he trusted God, that God who made him, who knew about him before he was born, who knew that he had a gift for him and a purpose for him. He trusted God, and God opened the doors for him for more speaking engagements. He was able to retire his wife, and his wife, and they came up with a formula of how to improve her health. And, you'll have to, again, read his story. It's very powerful. But he didn't take that valley and stay there and fold his hands and give up and say, oh, and even, at times he say his wife would feel bad about it, that, here you are speaking and you get ready to take off in your life. And, I get diagnosed with this. And he had to assure her that no, it is what it is, but you don't feel bad about it because you was there for me in the time of my life. So I'm just gonna stop there. But his whole life is testimony, from going homeless to getting a college educated and a PhD in childhood into administration and education. It's very inspiration. And now he's pastoring and speaking all over the world and motivating people. So I would just say, something to take away from this, from E.T. and Jesus' life, is that you owe yourself, as his book says, you owe you. You owe yourself to love yourself, to take action, to heal in your valley and find out in the valley your purpose. Apply what you learn with God's wisdom in the valley and continue to walk in your purpose that God has destined for you to have down here on this earth. And just take ownership of your life. You owe yourself the courage to chase your purpose. And Jalen, again, it started in the valley. My first, the second story, the echo, inner voices. And as the 12 stories eventually go on, you'll see his journey and those other journeys that implant in his life, and at those times and what they're going through. But and they had he will have journeys and he will have valleys, but he will continually to chase out his life purpose through those 12 short stories, and they're going to be difficult, but such is life. It's ups and downs, the valleys. And Jalen, he will not give up. At least when I start clicking the keys, As of right now, the mirror is finished and ready to go live and be ready. He's still fighting. But anyway, he's gonna still have those battles, and he will not give up. In the mirror, my third short story, I do know that. And the same likewise with you all. When you go through the journey of life, don't give up. And as E.T. says, don't make excuses, make adjustments. He made adjustments when his life was going through, when he learned out what she had and was diagnosed. He just said, don't make excuses. Don't stay there. Make adjustments. And Jalen's story says, don't ignore the echoes, face them. They're coming, those thoughts, those crazy thoughts, deal with them. And they both say, your future is waiting. And I just like to say also, not only Jalen, quickly, as the video is getting, I don't want to go too long, but me, myself, as the last 5 years, my ups and downs, and having to have 3 hip surgeries, and not knowing the third hip surgery, where they told me that I had a post-op infection. And then those who know me closer know about this, and that's why I walk with a cane now, because I have muscle. I have numbness and muscle weakness from 3 surgeries, 3 surgical scars. And the last one, I developed an infection that was eating up my flesh. And they said, when you go into surgery, we're not promised that you're going to come out. And I know when they gave me that anesthesia, before I went in and I went to God, I called it times where it was my valley. And I learned to talk to God. I had a pastor also that mentored me, and he learned me he taught me as a man. He said, when you don't know what else to do, Phil, remember what the word says. And before I went into that surgery, and I was looking at my wife, and I was looking at years that God has blessed us with, and I said, God, I know that you are walking with me. You're going in here with me, no matter what this infection is going on and what's going on in my body. And I know that, that I'm walking through this valley now. And I've been told that I may not be able to walk again after this infection, because it's just turned my leg and the muscles up. But if I make it through it, just watch, with you on my side and your word. So don't be, and I felt the Lord said, don't be dismayed, for I'm with you. I will never leave you nor forsake you. Turning the echo around, that negative thought. I will strengthen you. I will withhold you with my right hand of righteous. I will withhold you. He will hold me with his right hand. When his right hand is holding me, I know I can make it through physical therapy. I know I can stand up and walk again. I know what I need to do to get back on my feet. And though my body, this flesh and this hip may be saying, oh, it's numb, or I deal with numbness and it's worse in the cold, in the winter times, and shooting pains and all that. But I know I have a brain. And I know there's nothing that I can't do still in this life and be walking in my purpose, because I still have my hands and I still have my brain. I walk with a cane. I may walk a little bit slower than you, but I guarantee you, with God on my side, as I continue to walk in my purpose, that is not over. As I walk through my valley, and I know that my purpose, I'm going to continue to walk in it. And so I'm just going to end there. I just wanted to let you all know on a personal note that I too has been through my valleys. I had to learn how to take those thoughts. I had to learn how to trust God to walk through them. And then I had to learn again, you have what you need, your gifts. Do what you have to do to craft them and make them and walk in your purpose. So I'm in there, and I just want to tell you all I just want to say thank you. Thank you for continuing to tune into my videos. Thank you for reading my short stories. Thank you for turning the pages with me. And if you haven't yet, you can grab a copy of The Echo on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, and Google Play. And following this video, well, we have another video talking about the mirror um, that's going to be released in the next 24 to 48 hours. So thank you for tuning in. And always remember that, you have a purpose in this life, no matter what it may seem at the time, no matter how dark the valley seemed at the time, that you can walk through those valleys, no matter what the battle, the thought process in your mind, you can walk and you can end those thoughts because they're not truth, they're just lie, and replace them with the truth and find your life's purpose, your God-given purpose. Thank you for tuning in. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and thanks again.